I'm going to do a short one. I know I always say that. It's a joke. But this one might actually be short. Queen bee acid. So I just felt like I should put this out there because I shared it on Instagram. So if you follow me on Instagram, you already know this. But a bunch of people messaged me about this, and this is new to them. So I thought, well, shit, I should talk about it on YouTube. Queen bee acid. This is a component. You actually find it in royal jelly as well. So if you supplement with royal jelly, you're getting queen bee acid. However, you can also get queen bee acid as a supplement itself. And something really cool about this stuff is that it is very similar to DHA, which is, fish oil, right? So fish oil contains these omega-3 fats, and you already know fish oil is good for you, and the EPA is in there, and the DHA is in there, and DHA is this fatty acid that makes up your retina. Like your retina is made of DHA. Your brain requires DHA, and specifically, you want to get DHA from deep sea fish because the electron is in the SN2 position. It's really complex. It's like super nerdy shit that like no one cares about. The takeaway for you, instead of sitting around debating, oh, well, SN1 position and SN3 position, and listen, it's really simple. The actionable step for you is eat some sardines or eat some salmon or whatever. Eat fish. It's going to be the proper form of DHA. So instead of you wasting money on algae supplements, fish. That's why fish oil works. Fish oil has the proper form of DHA that is what makes up your retina in your eye, and it's the form that is in your brain. So eat fish, or fish oil for that matter, cod liver oil, whatever you like. The point being, algae is not a substitute for DHA. Now you can take massive amounts of algae, I guess, and your body apparently can do some kind of process where it moves things around and creates the proper form. But guess what? Like, the cheaper thing for you to do is just eat sardines. I've been saying that for how many years now, and in fact, you've heard me say it on podcasts. Just eat some damn sardines. Have some salmon. Who doesn't like salmon? Really? Like, salmon's delicious. Anyways, back to queen bee acid. Queen bee acid is very similar to DHA. And you guys, I recommend you don't just take my word for this. Do not take my word for this. In fact, don't take anyone's word for anything. Go look it up. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to Google or PubMed or DuckDuckGo, or whatever search engine you like. PubMed is actually acceptable here because you're going to look for these papers. You're going to look up queen bee acid and the fact that it has neuroprotective effects. That's it. That's what you're going to look up. And you're going to find a whole bunch of papers on queen bee acid and how it is beneficial for your brain. And it also has protective effects in your brain. And my advice to you is, if you are an athlete of any sport, especially contact athletes, combat athletes, you might not want to take fish oil. And I know that sounds weird, right? What do you mean don't take fish oil? Well, I mean don't take fish oil necessarily. Fish oil can thin your blood. So if you are a boxer or an MMA fighter, by all means, you want to take your fish oil and stuff like that. It's good for you to be healthy, but you might not want to take fish oil leading up to your fight. You probably want to avoid things like curcumin. You want to avoid things like Advil and aspirin. You don't want to get cut in a fight and then have a bleed and then lose the fight on a TKO because you have a bleed that can't be stopped. That's just a shitty thing to have happen. I've had it happen. I, got cut and they couldn't stop the bleeding, and I lost the fight because they couldn't stop the bleeding. Not because I lost the fight. Like, I didn't get beat. I just, I got caught with a finger. I guess this fingernail caught me, and it sucks. Opened up a cut, and it bled and bled and bled, and I was like, well, that's a fucking eyelid. Eyelids bleed a lot, unfortunately. Lots of capillaries and stuff like that. And so I lost the fight because they couldn't stop the bleeding. That's a shitty way to lose. In fact, it doesn't even feel good to win that way. It doesn't feel good to win if it's because, I cut the guy and then he couldn't stop the bleeding. So anyways, off on a tangent. Point being, queen bee acid. It's neuroprotective. So you may want to include this. So, when you cycle off of your fish oil, you start using queen bee acid, and it will have neuroprotective effects. So now that you're playing your contact sport, your combat sport, and you get hit in the head, it may protect your brain somewhat from the impacts. And in fact, actually, if you can afford it, all these things are always if you can afford it. And, I don't use supplements. I tell people all the time, I don't even use creatine. People are always shocked. What do you mean you don't use creatine? I'm like, I don't fucking use creatine. I think it's a waste of money. I don't see a reason for me to spend money on creatine. It doesn't make that much of a difference. And I'd rather buy more rice and more chicken and more beef and more eggs and, things that make a difference. So, no, I don't waste money on creatine. I eat beef. Anyways, point being, supplements are supplements. They're supplemental. So you don't have to have these things. But if you do have the money to spend, queen bee acid is awesome. You can't deny even the autophagy effects and stuff like that. It's very good for you. Like I said, go read these papers. I'm not going to read these papers to you. I could do a video where I just read the paper to you. Let me tell you what I just read in this paper. It'll make me sound smart, like I just know these things. I don't just know these things. I read the paper. I read the same paper that you're going to go read. So instead of me reading the paper to you, which is like, I actually think that's rude of people to do that. They just literally do videos where they read a paper to you. Thanks, asshole. I can't read for myself. It takes me 20 minutes to watch your video. It would take me 5 minutes to read that same paper because I read much faster than you can talk. Anyways, point being, I'm recommending to you, look into queen bee acid. I think it's awesome, and I certainly used it whenever I was actively fighting. I don't fight anymore, but yeah, and there was a company, totally blanking on it, Anateus Labs or something like that. They actually used to make a queen bee acid supplement, and it was pretty cool. So, and I think I actually got the right name there, Anateus Labs, Anateus, don't know how it's pronounced, but anyways, they made Achilles too, which was a joint supplement that had like Cissus quadrangularis in it. That was a really good product, actually. It's too bad that company isn't around anymore. Anyways, point being, queen bee acid and or royal jelly. You'll find queen bee acid in royal jelly. It's just a really cool molecule. Look it up, read about it. It has neurological benefits, so just something you might want to add in if you can afford it.